Measure B is okay. Now, forgive my ignorance.
So, do you know what a public bank is yet? Let's start there.
But is Measure B? It's not a legal referendum. It's not something that's up for vote.
It is up for vote.
It is.
Yeah. So it's a very small change to the city's charter that makes it legal to create a
Los
public
Angeles.
bank. Yes.
It is
City of Los Angeles
currently
charter.
illegal to make a public bank.
Right.
And the change would make it legal.
Oh, so simple, right?
Yeah, basically.
Very simple.
It doesn't
Too
commit any
simple, in
money.
fact.
It's like when it's like saying,
not in a
hey,
bad way.
porn stars don't have to wear condoms. Sorry, bad example.
I mean, they don't.
But it is
They
true
can
when we
wear as
had
many
when
as
we
they
had our
want.
friend Riley Reid up here. Even though it's easy to cloak something in the guise of like we're just trying to keep people safe,
No.
but you can also be like it's like oh fuck oppression and stuff. It's like it's not like porn stars are saying like we want to be unsafe. It's more like keep this So
if everyone had socialized medicine,
it was
you check
a really
all the
dumb
time,
parallel for me to draw. It's really stupid.
I think it was the same measure, though.
Well, I think
I
it was.
literally think it was the
yeah,
same
Measure
letter.
B, the condom law.
I think it was the same letter.
and it was pushed by the guy who's pushing Proposition 10.
Yeah, really wild, because Prop 10 is great, and
It's
that dude
good.
fucking sucked.
Yeah.
But he saw the light. There were a bunch of activists that basically were like, yo, Prop 10 is good because rent control is tight, and landlords shouldn't be able to jack up prices when people move out. Like, they shouldn't be able to do vacancy bullshit and, like, jack up the rent however much they want and keep people out of the neighborhood.
Is there a lot of
The yes on 10 also.
Yeah,
10
yes
rules.
on 10.
Is there? Sorry, I didn't even. I was thinking about my next thing that I wanted to ask.
That's good.
But that's fine. I'm sure measured. But is there? What I wanted to ask is because we're like, if you even go to a bar and you aren't on Twitter like me, like I'm like right now being flooded with imagery that's like proposition this and referendum that and all this stuff, and it's like, and we already know like if we're remotely savvy enough to get jaded about it, that you have no idea what the truth is now at this point. It's just like what I want to ask you about Measure B is for the folks that are listening, like that are in Los Angeles, what can they expect to see on TV or hear from their friends who have saw something that someone else saw on TV that's like the most common, like reflexive, like nut kick, like I heard that's for just people that want to have elephants eat their dick.
Well, I heard we don't even know what's going to happen if we vote yes on Measure B. We might be unleashing the gates to the apocalypse because we don't know on paper what it is.
Shut up, dude. Don't tell him.
Yeah.
No,
that is the opposition. That's the biggest opposition is we don't know what could happen. Maybe demons.
Right. Pretty much. There's that.
I'm just glad we chose this opportunity to talk about this on a podcast that will air 2 days after.
Right. You're right. Well, we're talking to. Well, that's actually.
There's a bunch of fired up people here.
It makes.
We have at least 5,000 people here tonight at the Diamond Tap link letter that will certainly go out and vote tomorrow.
You're fair enough, Jeff.
You call me a douche?
Touche. I called you touche. I called you touche because I aborted a touche. Okay.
It was a shitty touche.
Fair enough. However, it actually kind of makes sense because we're talking to the 38 people in Los Angeles that come actually to see the show.
Yeah, they love it.
There's more than 38.
Thank you.
4 more.
Yeah.
4 more audience members. 4 more audience members. Don't chant that. So here's the thing. The other thing is people are like, oh, what? The city's going to run a bank? How can they run a bank? Because they can't. Burp, 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 burp. To that.
I've always said that.
That's basically literally the guy in the ballot. If you read the ballot, the argument against Measure B, the guy who is he looks exactly like you think he would. His name is Jack Humphreyville, and he has no neck at all whatsoever.
Jack Humphreyville?
Jack Humphreyville, and he literally in the ballot in the argument against Measure B, he goes, "It's baloney." And there's a thing that ran on KCRW today that interviewed a bunch of us organizers for B and him, and he's like, "It seems like they're getting stoned." Like that's really what it is.
He won't
There's
stand
no
for baloney,
meaningful-
you know.
There's
But
no
it's-
meaningful
It seems like the
opportunity.
only slippery slope I could think of. I would have to go into like Shadowrun logic, or be like, "Are you saying that in the year 2040, Los Angeles could be a corporation turning more profit than San
let's-
Diego and go to war with them?"
No, but seriously, like, so we want to. You should discuss that because people are worried about that. That
Right.
is a fear people have. But the reality is,
It's a fear I would love to have.
right,
Right. I would love the opportunity.
Los Angeles is a trillionaire.
Right.
And I think it would be better if. Do you guys have a real vision for what it's going to look like? Because a lot of the push has been, oh, we don't have any strong. It's only we're making it legal to talk about now. So then going forward, if it passes, we'll be able to in city councils discuss what we want the shape of this to be and actually legislate it into existence.
So we're already doing that.
Right. So
Yeah.
what how is that process going to work, and how is it going to prevent us from like just being taken over or whatever? Who's
Right.
going to govern it? What?
So the important thing, right, is first and foremost, right now, the people in charge of the banks, you have zero means of democracy there. You
Right.
can't call
Companies.
up Lloyd Blankfein
Right
and be
now,
like,
right
Lloyd.
now, the city just has to get in line with you at
Right.
Bank of
At
America
the
and
bank.
open an account.
Yes, exactly.
And it's like
Yeah. And
whatever
like, oh, do I get
slippery
the
slope
Ann
you can worry
Getty's
about.
checks or what? Yeah. Shout out Ann Getty's personalized checks. I had them.
Oh, yeah.
The babies are so cute. They're in flower pots. What would happen is there would be a very strict charter so city council is letting us organizers have a seat at the table. We are also working on state legislation that would need to be passed in order to make this a
Right.
possibility. So in doing that, we
because
are-
statewide, it's also illegal, right?
yes,
Right.
but other cities have already
Made
because
movements.
of their charters, they're able to do what Measure B would do for LA.
Right.
Oakland and San Francisco specifically.
They're already working on it.
They're already working on it. They're like, okay, we've got task force and it's not shitty bankers. They're like letting the organizers lead the way because everybody's like, oh, this saves us billions of dollars and we get to fill in potholes.
So it's kind of okay that we're talking about it on our podcast.
well, I hope so.
Because it's like
great.
medical marijuana a couple of years ago. It's like an issue that's, maybe the referendums will be different numbers and things. But
Yes,
this is
it's
a
going
new
to
thing.
start. This is like a harbinger. Hopefully, this can be a domino effect. So what
Right.
happens next is it's just a slick harbinger. So what happens next is the charter has to be very strict, and it has to say we will not invest in oil pipelines or private prisons or fucking baby cages or any of that shit. I can't. It might say I literally can't believe I have to write baby cages, but here we are. Baby cages. No to that.
I never thought I'd have to not check this box.
Right. Never thought this box would have to be an option, but here we are. And then also prioritize, right? Like, if we're going to not all die in 40 years, like the UN's report just said might happen,
They've been saying that for 8 years. First it was 48 years, then it was 47. 7 years later, now it's 40 years, the world's gonna end. But maybe if you do something in 20, you could maybe... Blah, blah, blah. I went jogging the other day. It was cold. Weather changes, people. All right, sorry.
so
Again, there's something about pajamas that has made you.
No, it's alcoholism. I'm so drunk.
Okay, well,
that rules.
but you're wearing your alcoholism like micromodal fiber right now.
I hope that MeUndies considers that a compatible
It's 3
marketing
times
point.
softer than normal
Can we real
alcoholism.
quick? Can we get a momentary nipple update? Where are your nipples at?
It's
right now?
fine, actually. So
Nipple
I think that's a good
experiment.
advertisement too. Hey, are you a nipple guy?
Don't worry about
do
it.
Do you get horny when soft things touch your nipples? Are you therefore worried about wearing a MeUndie onesie? I'm Dan Harmon. I've been sitting up
recording
here
an ad.
wearing draped in fabric, and I've been talking about banking for an hour. I ain't got no hard on.
MeUndies. I ain't got no hard on.
I'm gonna sleep like a baby.
Baby ain't got no hard on. Maybe we'll go back to the drawing board on the baby one. But anyway, if we're going to mobilize enough capital to not all die in 40 years, we're going to need to do it like by a lot of money in the billions, and a public bank after 5 years, we'll be able to renew, like, we're talking renewable energy for whole neighborhoods, solar panels, batteries, all that shit, because we're taking billions that were going to bad stuff and putting it to good stuff. Morally, it's pretty black and white.
Right. And I remember Sarah Silverman talking about this years ago, and this is sort of a cousin of
Divestment.
we were talking, divestment.
That's what she was talking
Where
about.
to get it out of your nationally franchised banks and put it into credit unions, which
Yes.
I have not done yet, and I should do.
You should,
I'm
because
scared my accountant will yell at me. But
you got to be afraid of an accountant your whole
But
life.
the idea there is that, hey, if your bank, God bless their soul, they don't have to be evil to be following the marching orders of, like, we're supposed to make more money than the bank across the street, which is also an international bank. So, of course, your funds are going to tend to end up
Right.
aerosol misted
I've
across
heard,
a
Dan,
planet.
that